In vast shipyards across the globe, elite engineers are joining forces to build a new breed of marine machines to do battle with the world's roughest seas.
And there are no cutting corners or no cheating.
A giant tanker as long as 2 football pitches.
Building ships is actually like a big 3D puzzle.
A mighty super tug with the power of 180 cars.
Time is always our enemy.
And the world's biggest jack-up oil rig.
It's engineering on an epic scale.
There's got some problem now there.
Stop, Augusta, stop.
Constructing these ocean giants on time and to spec is the ultimate test
No, she's really a beast.
of teamwork and skill. This time, the tanker team rumbles into action.
If we damage it, I'll be angry.
Welding worries on the rig,
If you get crack in the welding, it can all fall apart.
and the yards prepare for a deadly typhoon.
You definitely cannot stand up in that. I mean, that will blow you off your feet.
South Korea. One of the largest shipbuilding nations in the world. Every year, its enormous yards churn out over 20 million tons of shipping. In the town of Okpo, beside the Korea Strait, lies DSME, one of the biggest shipyards on the planet. As big as 700 football pitches. Its huge army of workers produce more than 75 rigs and vessels a year. Industry veteran Erik Yule Madsen has worked in shipyards like this for over 40 years.
I think it's the most exciting job in the world.
Now, Erik is here to take on one of the most ambitious projects of his entire career. Weighing 35,000 tons and costing a cool $650 million. When launched, the Invincible will be the world's biggest jack-up rig. One of 4 rigs commissioned by Danish shipping giants Maersk. She's designed to drill for oil deep beneath the North Sea. The team has just 18 months to build her. Every week of delay will result in lost revenue. Today, Erik and his crew are on their way to an important celebration. A traditional Korean rice cake ceremony to mark the start of the rig's assembly.
We don't know exactly what the event will be. I only know I have to do a short speech. So I had to prepare that this morning. That's an exciting day.
Actually, Eric's promised us a big dinner afterwards. Champagne, steaks, the lot. So we're really looking forward to that anyway.
We look forward to work closely with everybody. Thank you. Don't put it in the pipe, huh?
Oh, the rice is good. That's the best part of the ceremony.
Rice cake was good. First time I have thrown it away though. Normally we eat it, but today we had to throw some away for the good luck. So Hopefully it will be. Good luck.
The Invincible will be operating in some of the world's roughest seas. So it's crucial that our foundations are rock solid. Which is why workers are hard at it, constructing a set of robust feet to keep the rig stable. The feet are called spud cans. Each one is bigger than a tennis court. The rig's crew fills the hollow spud can with 1 million litres of water to anchor the rig to the sea floor. But spud cans have one potentially serious weakness. When resting on the seabed, ocean currents can eat away at the soil beneath, causing the rig to tilt. To prevent this, welders must fit each spud can with a metal skirt, extending 2 meters into the seabed. This stops the sea from eroding the soil, ensuring the Invincible remains safe and stable.
We are moving the spud can today into the final building area where we will assemble the whole rig. It's complicated, many factors. Should we drop it and damage our spud can, then we're talking not months delay, we're talking half or even a year. This simply cannot go wrong.
The 22-metre wide spud can is too big to drive through the crowded dock to the assembly area. So the team must instead haul it across the water.
At the moment you can see they are maneuvering the floating crane into position.
At the helm, Captain Songjin-oh.
선쇼원에서 살아오면서 직장 생활을 하면서
For the 35 years that I've been working, the happiest moment for me is when a new ship gets delivered.
출항하는 걸 봤을 때가 아무래도 인간으로서는 직업인으로서는 최고로 못보다 생각 아니겠습니까?
Captain Oh and his monster crane can lift up to 3,600 tons, a full 4 times the weight of the spud can. But doing it from a floating platform demands more than just brute force. Since the floating crane has a flat base, an extremely heavy load could cause her to flip over. So she's equipped with a system of ballast tanks. Captain O must fill the tanks with exactly the right amount of water to counterbalance the weight of the spud can. This causes the crane to temporarily tip backwards before the spud can pulls her level.
It is a big crane and big equipment, so always exciting to see. At the moment they are just finishing all the shackling. Look like they have them all in now. They're doing the final check. Now they will slowly start taking the load. We should be ready to lift.
The crew starts to fill the crane's tanks.
살짝 당기시고.
살짝 당기고.
자, 하나 바짝 한번 당겨보세요.
The challenge for the crane now is to, of course, come in here without hitting anything, One block over there is fairly close.
자, 4분도 한번 살짝 감아주라.
But with the spud can almost in place, Eric spots that one of the team isn't where he should be.
Looking at the guy who's guiding, he shouldn't really be standing there.
Focused on his task, a worker has strayed directly under the spud can.
Why he walking under the loader? That's not very good.
Not very good, you're saying.
Yeah, he walking straight under the loader. If he falls down, he's dead.
With the drop zone clear, Captain O gets the green light to complete the lift.
자, 선수거리 확인해라. 바람 불고 파도 치는 날은 매우 위험해요.
When it's windy and the waves are high, it can be very dangerous. And if we don't put the spud can down in the right place, it could get damaged.
자, 내립니다.
Finally, Captain O lowers the spud can into position. Where it will soon be joined by the rest of the rig. To mark this milestone, Eric indulges in a little team bonding
He's running there on the seaway now.
by going snorkeling with close colleague Shin Young.
It's very nice to relax like this. You get your mind totally away from spud cans and legs.
There's even time to catch that evening's supper.
Very good.
Beginner's luck that time. Maybe you have enough for food.
Next,
I hope that this driver is a good driver.
the tanker team jumps into action.
If he damages it, I'll be angry.
And Eric's rig hits trouble.
It's possible some defects, yes. It doesn't look that good.
Sundong Shipyard in South Korea. One of the largest yards in the country. Here, 7,000 welders, riggers and painters put their bodies on the line in a constant battle against stifling heat, cramped conditions and noxious gases to deliver around 40 finished ships a year.
I started out as a car mechanic 25 years ago now, and now I'm here. Korea.
Peter Bertelsen has been a shipbuilder for the last 11 years.
I like this, going out, looking at things being built, big things being built. For me, it's the best job.
Originally from Denmark, Peter now lives in South Korea full-time.
This is what I do for a living, bouncing. If you bring my son here, he'll probably love it.
In 2013, he was part of the team that built the mega container vessel, the Triple E. Now, Peter's wrangling his own team as it gears up for one of its toughest builds to date. The 10,000-ton Maersk Tangier, designed to carry everything from petroleum to palm oil. She's one of a fleet of 10 tankers being built over the next 2 years. Peter and the team have just 23 weeks to assemble and launch their new tanker.
If the shipyard misses the deadline, there will be some penalties for the shipyard. And of course, we will have a not happy owner because they can't get their ship.
The race to build her starts today with the mother of all manoeuvres. This is the Tangier's engine block. A 285-ton mass of metal that will eventually house the ship's engine and propeller shaft. Built inside one of Sangdong's giant construction sheds, the engine block must now be moved from the shed through the cramped yard to the slipway where the Tangier is being assembled.
Shipyards are always short of space, so everything is packed quite tightly together.
But with no cranes in the vicinity, the yard has arranged for some alternative transport. 35-year-old Il-Sin Lee is the man with the job of shifting this hunk of steel.
This block is one of the biggest. It's very difficult and it makes me nervous.
Luckily, Il-Sin has a special piece of equipment to help. The multi-wheel transporter can carry loads of up to 430 tons. It's like a giant flatbed mounted on wheels. Its low centre of gravity makes it the perfect vehicle for hauling oversized loads. Each axle rotates independently to ensure precise steering, while hydraulic suspension gives both a smooth ride as well as plenty of lifting power. Sang Hyung-ju is in charge of today's move.
Today is a very important day. This big module is moved to election area. Main engine will be installed inside. This is a challenging move, very dangerous and difficult. I hope that this driver is a good driver. If it damages, I'll be angry.
Crumbling potholes and uneven rail tracks pose a constant threat. So Il-Sin must keep his speed to a minimum.
From the cabin, I can't even see the edge of the block. It's like driving with your eyes closed.
Steering almost blind, Il-Sin carefully slaloms his load around equipment and buildings.
You need to be very careful. Watch out these park lift. Be careful.
The transporter creeps towards the drop zone at barely 5 kilometers an hour. Now Il-Sin must lower the block onto exactly the right spot.
Yeah, they're getting it there. It should be there by now. It looks more or less correct.
done. No damage. Put down on the position perfectly. Very good. Perfect. Well done.
It's time for a nice cup of coffee.
I'm always quite amazed that they get everything in the right place at the right time. They're good at planning. Now we start building the ship itself. Now we're going forward. Now we're going the right way.
Although being built in South Korea, the Tangier was conceived some 8,000 kilometers west, in Copenhagen. This is Maersk's global headquarters.
With 1,100 vessels, Maersk is the largest vessel owner in the world. We sail 55 million nautical miles per year, or equal to 130 round trips to the moon.
From this hub, an elite team of naval architects and engineers oversees dozens of projects a year. From massive container vessels to colossal drill ships and tankers.
We have 10 of these vessels coming over the next 2 years, so it is a constant production line. And it is crucial for us that we're getting these vessels on time and on budget.
To build 10 tankers entirely from scratch would take far too long. Instead, the team is assembling each ship from 129 prefabricated sections, called blocks. The blocks take shape inside the yard's cavernous assembly shed. Each is in itself a complex 3D jigsaw.
Ships are, of course, made of thousands and thousands of different parts, and it's vital that everything fits correctly together.
To create all these parts quickly and accurately, the yard relies on one of the most advanced metal cutters on the planet. The plasma cutter.
They're cutting with a plasma cutter right now. And they're cutting this plate, and it's a fairly complex shape. These round shapes, and it's not so easy to cut. It's the most precise machine you can get.
It's also one of the fastest.
This is much more efficient and faster than hand cutting and how they did in the old days.
Unlike the old method of hand cutting, the computer-guided plasma cutter uses superheated gas to cut through solid steel in seconds.
This machine is the plasma cutter, and what it does is cut out shapes from a design. Unlike other cutters, it's fully automated.
Once cut, the team then has the mammoth task of joining the plates together.
Well, everything looks fine. We had a look around the cutting shop. Everything correct. And no cutting corners, others as though they should be there.
Next, the teams get ready for a battering.
This typhoon is, I expect, will make damage.
Inside the giant DSME shipyard, the Invincible's electrical manager Gary Jones has got his eye on the weather. and he's made an alarming discovery.
We've got quite a big typhoon coming through here. The wind speed we're expecting around about 150 kilometers an hour. Pretty strong winds.
Devastating typhoons regularly batter the Korean peninsula. These tropical storms, driven by extreme winds and carrying huge amounts of rain, can cause enormous damage.
You definitely cannot stand up in that. I mean, that will blow you off your feet. It will take large sheets of metal and blow them along.
30 kilometers away at Sangdong, Tanker Superintendent Sang Hyung-ju is also monitoring the approaching storm.
A couple of years ago, some solar cranes fall down by this heavy wind. This typhoon is, I expect, will make damage.
With both the tanker and rig directly in the firing line, workers batten down the hatches. Crane arms and cables with 50-kilo steel shackles surround the builds on all sides.
Tomorrow, the typhoon is coming. The wind could blow these cables around and damage the crane. So today, we are taking them down.
Equipment secured, the teams cross their fingers and wait. The next morning, and tanker boss Peter is up bright and early checking for any signs of damage.
Typhoon actually turned off, so it didn't come as close as firstly expected, so there was no damage. It was a little bit high wind and some rain, and that was it. No damage anyway.
With the clock ticking, Peter is keen to crack on with building the Tangier's enormous hull. Assembling this giant 129-piece jigsaw is a daunting task. One made even tougher by a crucial design feature inside the hull. It was invented in the wake of one of the world's worst shipping disasters. In 1989, the giant supertanker Exxon Valdez, carrying 53 million gallons of crude oil, ran aground off the coast of Alaska. Hidden rocks tore 8 giant holes in the ship's hull. Millions of gallons of oil spilt into the ocean, coating 2,000 kilometers of coastline and smothering wildlife. To prevent a repeat, all tankers these days are fitted with a double skin, separated by an air gap. The theory is that if the outer hull is breached, the inner hull will still keep every last drop of harmful cargo safely inside the vessel. But building a double hull means having to cut and weld nearly twice the amount of steel than on a single-hulled ship. Welding the inner hull is especially tough.
Of course, it's not the nicest place in the world to work. It can be dark and there will of course be smoke and so on from welding it. The workers here in Songdong, they have actually quite smart vests with air supply and so on to cool them down while they work.
Ok Sun Ko has worked as a welder for the last 9 years.
The places I weld are very narrow and very dark and very hot.
For welders like Ok Sun, every join is crucial. Get one wrong and the ship's hull could split open.
The best part for me is when my welding is very clean and pretty. I feel very proud when I see a ship that I worked on, heading out to sea.
After around 200 hours of welding, another block rolls off the production line.
The block is actually finished, it's nicely painted. Now it's ready to be erected on the skid so they can continue building the vessel.
"30 kilometers away in Okpo, the rig team has built the Invincible's 3 giant spud cans and moved them into place.
The spud can is finally down here. There was a few issues with the support, but they solved it and now it has been landed.
Now, they face their own welding challenge, attaching the spud cans to the rig's 200-meter long legs. The Invincible will be operating in some of the world's roughest seas. To survive this constant pounding, it's vital that the joints connecting each spud can to its leg are as strong as possible.
My father was in shipbuilding, and my 2 brothers also in shipbuilding.
Poul Nielsen is overseeing this crucial stage.
The leg will be welded to the spud can in this area down here. It's very, very important. This spud can and leg connection here, it's carrying the whole rig. It's a very heavy rig. And the whole load is down here to the spud can. There's no shortcut in this one. Has to be correct.
Jung Ho Kim is one of the yard's 3,000-strong weld team.
The spud cam is a very important part, so I have to be very careful when I'm welding.
Easier said than done when temperatures inside the spud can reach over 60 degrees Celsius.
Inside the spud can, you have a very narrow space in here. Somebody has to go in there, in this tiny hole. It's terrible, terrible. I would, of course, not like to do this kind of job.
The inside of the spud cam is very small and tight, and also very hot. So it's difficult to work in, which is why we do 20-minute shifts.
Making Jung Ho's task even harder and hotter is a vital process known as preheating. If a weld is allowed to cool too fast, it can quickly become brittle and develop cracks, leaving the rig vulnerable to collapse. To avoid this, workers use special pads to heat the steel either side of the weld to around 110 degrees Celsius. This slows the rate at which the weld cools, preventing it from becoming brittle.
It can be a very serious issue if you don't heat up to the temperature. We keep checking, we keep an eye on that all the time. If there's lack of preheating, you can maybe get crack in this welding. And if you get crack in the welding, it can all fall apart. It's really, really important.
So important that every join has to be double checked.
It's not warm enough. It should be 110.
Despite the yard's best efforts, one of the leg welds hasn't been heated to a high enough temperature.
For the last 100 millimeter for the connection from the spot can to the leg, it was only around 85 degrees. Had to be 110 at least.
It's a setback Poole could do without.
I told the guy in stop him and either wait till it get hot enough or use the torch to get the last heating.
Next,
If the weld was totally clean, there will be no image up here.
the problems mount for the rig team.
Possible some defects.
It doesn't look that good.
Inside the giant DSME shipyard, Eric is on his way to the rig assembly area. He's meeting with a team of specialists who've flown in from Denmark to investigate the crucial welds attaching the rig's legs to her feet.
I'm going down to the spot can area. Spot can and leg, of course, is extremely crucial for this rig.
Okay, I will calibrate the scanner now. I'll need to start up the software.
Okay. Oh, you're getting ready. Is this the scanner?
Yes.
The team is using a special robotic scanner to inspect the welds.
But Matthias, you can put the scanner on.
As the machine crawls along the weld, it uses sound waves to check for flaws in the joint.
The wheels are made of permanent magnets, so it will never fall.
The thick weld, huh?
Yeah, it's a thick weld, yeah.
If Jens finds any defects, they will have no option but to redo all the welds, setting the build back.
Okay, I've set it. Let's try to see if we can collect some data. It's moving now, yeah. And you can see we are collecting data. We have two colors representing one probe shooting in one direction and two other colors from the other probe shooting in the other direction.
It doesn't take long for Jens's scanner to confirm Eric's worst fears.
This blue thing here, you can see we have a line. It tells me that there are maybe some slack or something inside the weld. If the weld was totally clean, there will be no image up here.
So, possible some defects.
It's possible some defects, yes. It doesn't look that good.
It's not too good news for us and the schedule. This is the most important part of the rig down on the seabed, so we need to make sure every weld is perfect. On this kind of welding, there cannot be any compromises at all. They have to be 100%.
Eric calls an urgent meeting with his team to break the bad news.
Okay, morning everybody. Spot can issues. They are checking all the welding on the spot can. That's ongoing, and of course there will be a lot of repair on that. They found that these welding have also cracked. Quite a number of cracks. So it will obviously have big impact on the erection of that block. I think that's where we are right now. Okay, thank you. The consequence of having to remove the welding is it will take time. probably a couple of months to remove the welding and redo it again.
With the Invincible due for delivery in just 16 months, it's a delay Eric can't afford. As the rig build stutters, Peter and the tanker crew are making good headway. Over the last 7 weeks, the team has built and welded in place a further 15 blocks. Almost completing the Tangier's stern. Unlike the rig, this build is firmly on schedule.
What continues now is, of course, welding of all the blocks together everywhere. You can see the weld joints. Welding of that, finishing up the rest of the blocks, putting in the main engine, putting in the shafting, rudder on, propeller on. It's a good job well done.
That night, Peter gathers the team for a celebration.
Barbecue, good. Score. Cheers, enjoy.
At a local barbecue restaurant.
Cheers.
Korean beers are very good. They don't bring a headache next month.
Cheers. Some of the colleagues might be a little bit tired tomorrow morning. Fair enough. But you're playing golf afterwards, aren't you? So if you eat too much and drink too much, you cannot hit the ball anymore.
No.
The one thing I don't understand about golf, why does the shoes have to be so ugly? There are no nice golf shoes.
It's okay. Okay.
Despite setbacks, Maersk's new drilling rig and tanker take their first major steps towards completion.
Now the real stuff starts. Now we start to see the vessel take form.
But the hard work has only just begun. Next time,
yeah, I've been doing this for a long time and nothing's gonna pass by me.
the tanker team feels the heat as it begins the mother of all paint jobs.
You can see I'm soaking very hot.
And the Invincible grows some legs.
It's the moment of truth.
It could go very wrong, but that's why we're here.